Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bumbershoot, where we're covering life's chaos with humor and heart. Welcome to the 2025, well, I don't know, it's not a series, to the year 2025. How about that? Well, Happy New Year, guys.
Yes, Happy New Year.
We saw each other on New Year's Eve.
We did.
Rhonda's getting rowdy over here. That's a
I
new
do.
year, Rowdy Rhonda.
That's right, baby. Isn't that
Let's do
MMA
Rowdy
fighter?
Rhonda
Yeah.
and Talkative Tracy.
Ooh, I like it.
And Chatty Charity. That didn't change.
That's perfect.
Totally. All right. Well, did you guys have a great New Year's Eve after I left?
We did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Probably a little too much.
Tracy, get
Yeah.
closer.
Yes.
You got
it
to
was
scoochie your
fun.
chair in, sister.
There.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a fun New Year's.
It really was.
I was
Played
at
games.
Gourmet at midnight, you guys. I had your son at midnight, Rhonda.
Aw, I'm
It was
jelly.
fun. I know. But yeah, hopefully you guys all had a safe and wonderful New Year's. I think 2025 is going to be an amazing year.
Yes.
We're excited, and we're already foreseeing a lot of great podcast episodes this year. So, you know what I wanted to tell you guys? It's been really fun. So, you know, just like on Facebook and, well, kind of not on Instagram, but more on Facebook or maybe on Instagram, not everybody stops and likes it, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll hear someone say like, oh my gosh, did you have so much fun wherever? Or, oh, I loved seeing the pictures of this. And you're like, wait, sorry. Do you hear that cat in the background?
Totally.
It's Cherie.
That's Cherie.
That's Charity's grand cat.
My grand cat. It's a black cat. Yeah, it's Luca's mouse catcher. But Luke is in his office in a meeting. We're in the studio in a recording, and she's demanding someone pay attention to her. Anyway, if you can hear in the background, that's what it is. Wait, everybody be quiet. She's loud. She's only 7 months. She's loud. Okay, so anyways, what was I saying? I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, I was saying that, you know how people they
Oh, yeah.
see your
Like-
stuff, but they don't
liking.
always comment or like it. So the same has proven true with the podcast, except for they're telling me hey, I've been listening to the podcast, or I got caught up on all the podcasts. So it's really, really exciting. So we appreciate all of our listeners. Thank you so much for listening. We do have listeners abroad, so all across the country and in other countries. So
That's amazing.
I know, it's so exciting.
Yeah.
So we just we want to keep growing. So if you guys don't mind sharing and subscribing, and then letting people know what we know to be true, and I've heard, is that we've gotten better as the time has gone on. Our sound 100% is better.
Yay.
Yeah, and we're dialed in now, guys.
Yay.
So proud of all of us. We had no clue. We didn't talk to anybody about doing podcasts. We
No.
didn't. I did a little bit of charity research, which isn't much. I'm just I jump in all feet, and figure it out from there. So thank you for going through the growing pains with us and for still being around, and all the new listeners. Let's continue to grow this thing. It's fun, and we're having a great time. And I'm loving reminiscing. But we're going to get to a point where it's no longer reminiscing. It's just going to be live present tense. So, but as far as so we wrapped up high school, but there was 3 things that I felt like were kind of big deals that I didn't bring up. So I just want to touch on those before I grow into my adult life.
Sounds good.
Okay, so there was something that happened. Well, first I'll touch on the past high school stuff. So there was 2 things I forgot to tell you guys about. One was that my senior year, there was a talent show. And so me and my besties got together, and we decided we were going to be, Shuri, shut up.
I'm shocked. She's so loud and clear because she's not in this room
She's,
and the door is closed and she's louder than me.
yeah, it's true. We'll try to keep you not distracted from Shuri. Listen to her. Squeaky wheel. I'm not letting her in though, because then she's going to just do that in here. It'll be even louder. Anyway, so there was 2 things in high school. The one thing was that the girls and I we auditioned for our talent show, or it was a lip sync. It was the high school lip sync. So we got together a group and did the Go-Go's. Some of our guy friends got together and did the Doors. I have to say, their show was amazing, but it didn't have crowd involvement and the energy. We, of course, as the Go-Go's singing, we got the beat, had the whole crowd.
Love that song.
So we had all we totally got the matching outfits and
neon.
all the different,
Neon stuff.
the neon accents. It was all black outfits with neon accents. And we had like the 2 guitar players and the drummer. And I was Belinda Carlisle. I know you guys
Of course
are shocked.
you were.
Shocker. But those friends, like a lot of you guys now, are like, they were not the performers either. Not one of them. The girls that, Natalie, Heather, Chrislyn, and then Christy, Kelly's sister, that was kind of, she was
Yeah.
kind of in and out of our little foursome.
Sure.
Yeah, we kind of grew to 5 all the time with Christy. But Christy was the only other one that maybe was more like outgoing. No, she wasn't maybe. She was more outgoing. Maybe not as much as me, but definitely, I think she got most spirited, I think, as a senior. But the other girls were totally behind the sceners, and somehow I could convince them to do that then too.
Of course you did.
But we had a blast, and we won the talent show.
Yay.
So if you're a local, you've heard of Timmy D Productions. Well, Timmy of Timmy D, or I guess he goes by Timmy D, Timmy Daniels. He was like one of 2 DJs in the whole valley at the time. And he's very involved in the community still as a DJ. He was very involved in the schools and everything then. So he was the DJ and the kind of the orchestrator of it all. Well, he was also involved in the Balloon and Wine Festival. So because we won, I think the second place, our friend, the guy friends too, as the Doors, we got to open for the Beach Boys at the Balloon and Wine Festival that year. Yes.
Hey.
So it was held.
How cool is that?
Back then, it was held at Merida Hot Springs Resort. Shuri, shush. She is so loud.
Maybe we should go put her somewhere.
Yeah, I think we should. Where can we
In
put
your
her?
dad's room?
Okay, we're going to take a moment.
Yes.
We're going to pause. All right, guys, we're back, and we just let Cherie in the room, and we'll see what she does. So far, she's not whining, so I guess we might be okay. Except for Tracy's going to be distracted because she's an animal lover. Okay, so you don't want her to jump on you? No, Rhonda's not an animal. Animals only go to the ones that don't want them.
I know. I
100%.
just hope she doesn't jump on me.
Oh, she's playing with the cords to them.
Oh, gosh. Cherie, come here. All right. We'll just ignore her. Okay. So, anyways, yeah. So we got to open for the Beach Boys. So what happened was, I had my Volkswagen Cabriolet convertible, as you guys heard. So we went all together to the Balloon Wine Festival at the time was held at the Merida Hot Springs Resort. So off Merida Hot Springs, it's a big resort. It's reopened as a hot springs resort again. But yeah, it was so cool. So we did the Go-Go's. All of us girls got in my Cabriolet to have one car to go into the parking lot. So we get to the guy that the kid was checking in cars, and so we're performing on stage. We're the Go-Go's, and the guy's like, "No way, my sister loves you guys." And we totally rolled with it. We're like, "Really?" And he's like, "Can I get an autograph for her?" We're like, "Sure." So he totally believed we were the Go-Go's. He's like, "You guys go have fun. I wish I could watch you." Thanks.
That's hilarious.
And we're playing ourselves on the radio. We got the beat. So anyway, it was such a cool experience. I mean, obviously we were in the daytime, it was like a couple hours before I think the Beach Boys even started, but we did meet them. I don't remember them being like the most warm and fuzzy guys I've ever met. It's not like it was exciting to meet them. It's not like we got pictures with them or anything. They weren't really engaging, but
Did you sign as Belinda when you signed
I
their autograph?
absolutely did. Don't tell Belinda. I might get forgery. No,
Oh,
I just signed
charity, but Belinda.
I did a B and scribbled, so
Yeah.
it's not really, it wasn't really her.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun. So that was a big thing that I totally forgot. But that's like a fun experience that, the girls that are kind of more behind the scenes, they would have never done that if I hadn't coerced them, talked them into it. And then look at the experience we got was so much greater than what we ever could have expected.
Yeah.
So that we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to head into my adulting life. We were going to have Dad on. We might have him on the next episode.
Okay.
He had a little car issue today, so he might be on the next episode, but
Sounds good.
we think it's time to bring Dad in.
Yes, it is.
He'll have to come in a few times, I think, throughout the years. All right, so the last, you guys, last we shared, I was engaged, right? And graduated. And so August, I think it was the 11th of 1991, I had my wedding. I think we talked a little bit about at the Grand Tradition in Fallbrook. And I might have said, did I tell you guys off mic or on mic? I'm not sure, but it was all my people except for his one brother. Okay, so I had 9 bridesmaids, including a junior bridesmaid, yeah. And then he had 9 groomsmen, but they were all my cousins and friends except for his brother who stood up for him. Yeah, so it just, I don't know, it's just like one more thing that shows you how things, yeah, exactly.
Why?
Tracy says light bulb. It's just like one more sign.
Why? I'm confused. Why was his family not a part of it?
Well, he had a very small family.
Okay.
They did come. His dad and brother lived back in the Midwest.
Okay.
And his mom was there too, but that was like...
But not a lot of friends. It was.
He didn't have, yeah.
He was immersed in your life.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah, any friends that were there were mutual friends, exactly.
Yeah.
But I will say that there was things that, and I don't want to get into too many things because, for the sake of being respectful. But I just felt like, there was so many signs before I got married that kind of came back, resurfaced, let's say, after I got married, and having like his whole world be me is a lot of responsibility, and it didn't change. Oh, there she goes again. Okay, should we move on? There was a couple things. So one, when I graduated high school, I went into beauty school. And it was through I think it's ROC program. So it was like the last year they were taking graduated seniors into the programs.
Nice.
So I got to go on the ROC program, which is free through the state. So I went to our local beauty college. I met some great friends there. One gal, I'm still Kelly. Shout out to Texas girl Kelly, Ashcraft beef. If you guys want, if you live in Texas, get some Ashcraft beef. Kelly became a dear, dear friend while I was in beauty school. And then we had another great friend, Veronica. She's awesome. She's a news reporter on the news,
That's cool.
Yeah, San Diego. She's amazing. They actually call her Kitty. So some people might know Kitty out there. She's awesome. I don't keep as much in touch with her, but there was one gal that I met there that I adored, and I'm not going to say her name, but she was the sweetest thing ever. But she lived in an area that's semi-local, and her brothers were involved in gangs in that area.
Ooh.
So I found myself kind of wanting to be there for her. Not kind of, I really wanted to be there for her. I spent a lot of time building a relationship with her, talking, counseling with her and stuff. And she was really drawn to me for my faith and kind of dependency on God and everything. And so she was someone that I felt, it kind of went from being like a mutual friendship to being like almost codependent kind of thing. Well, the husband that I had, my husband at the time, he got into dental college back in Indiana where he was from. And so we were moving after I graduated from beauty school and such. I never got my license, but I graduated from beauty school. Well, we were moving back to Indiana so that he could go to dental school, and that way his family could help us and yada yada. I kept in touch with her. While I was there, she was going through some really scary stuff to the point where her brother got shot in a gang shooting. And it was like, she called me when it happened and in desperation. And what you feel like you want to do a million things, but you can't do anything. That was the second time I felt helpless over the phone. I'll tell you another thing that happened in high school was a guy that I I dated a tad, but I really liked him. But I think we dated for a short period of time, but when we were breaking up, he was threatening to commit suicide on the phone with me. And I felt like I couldn't hang up the phone, and I didn't want to go get my parents because it was when you're young, you don't know how to handle those situations.
Right, yes.
And I don't think he really, I want to believe that he wasn't really meaning it, but he just wanted it to be like a guilt kind of thing. Unfortunately, he didn't, and he lives a beautiful, and I'm in touch with him. He's a great guy and has a great family and all the things. But this was only the second time I've dealt with like some real, like devastating phone,
Scary,
like what do I do? And I can't hang up. And obviously at that time I was a couple years older, but still I didn't know what to do. So obviously I prayed with her over the phone, but her desperation for me I felt like she needed me to save the situation, even though that's probably not exactly but maybe. It was very, very, very heavy for me.
I bet.
And I didn't know what to do from that point because I felt like at that point she was too dependent on me. And and I felt like I can't do this anymore. There's nothing I can do from where I'm at. And I can't keep working on this friendship and just being her friend and trying to get her through everything. It was almost like I had that instinct that it wasn't healthy for me, but I didn't know how to do that.
Right.
So something quite profound, and God has a way of talking to you in a lot of different ways. It's really cool when God shows up. So I was involved in a church, or not involved. I went to a church there. I loved it. I wish I could move that church around with me everywhere. Although I do love my church now. But that church I really, really loved. And at the time it was so perfect for me. The pastor that Sunday after that phone call was talking about how people in your life, so if you picture 2 cups, half full. I say half full. You might say half empty. But you picture two glasses half full. And he did this like analogy to the congregation that people in your life, you need to keep the people in your life that like when you fill their cup, they fill yours, and you go back and forth, right? Sometimes you need more filling and sometimes they do. And then sometimes you're just kind of even and you're good. Well, if you have someone in your life that you're pouring into and they're not pouring back, eventually you have nothing more to give, right?
Yeah, right.
And so he said, you need to find a way out of those relationships because they're not good for you.
Right.
And that's not how God designed relationships. It's like in relationships, it's 2-part. Yeah.
Right.
And it was the most beautiful analogy. It gave me an out that like was healthy and good and like I could understand and knew that I had to do. So I realized then that she wasn't pouring into me at all, that she was just taking from me. So if one person's taking from everything you have from you, you have nothing to give them or anyone else, right?
Right.
And you have nothing left in there for yourself.
Right.
And that's really how I felt. It was like completely draining me, emotionally, physically, everything. So that was a beautiful message. And if I could share that with all of you, that, there's sometimes that maybe someone does, because of what they're going through, they do deplete you almost to the end. But then the drips start coming back, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. It's just when someone takes and then has nothing to give back,
right,
that it's not healthy. And it's hard because you have to terminate a friendship.
Right.
And that is not easy. And nobody says like how to do it. Everybody has their own way of doing it. And you kind of have to find your own way that'll work for you in the situation. But sometimes relationships do have to end. And so the way I did it at the time was I wanted to give her kind of closure. So I explained to her that where I was, there was nothing I could do. And the way that it was making me feel was really hard on me.
Right.
And that I was sorry, but I just can't be that person for her. And that I would highly suggest she maybe, go get counseling from her church, or go to a counselor or something else. And she was hurt. And that's the hardest part, because I'm so not about I don't have that callousness that I can sorry, that's that. I know people in my life that do. good for you, but I don't
not
have
you.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was hard for me that it hurt her, but I will tell you, oh my gosh, the weight lifted off of me was huge. So that was a big growing point for me.
Well, I love what he shared with you, and I'm kind of thankful that you just shared that with me, because I think it's an important message for everybody to know. Mm-hmm. Don't you think?
Yeah,
it
thank
really
you.
is important to know that.
Well, and that, you can get through it. I didn't have to see her out and about around town, and so obviously it'd be a lot harder if it was someone local to you. Sure, he's posing now. But at the end of the day, you've got to really, if you're not well or healthy,
Exactly.
then you can't be good for anybody else anyway.
Exactly.
So,
You have to take care of yourself first.
yeah. But if you do things with love, then you can be at peace with it. Like I knew I delivered the message the best I could out of love for her and for myself. Hey, no. She's a little troublemaker, this girl. Now she's scratching the furniture.
She acts like a dog. She acts like a puppy.
That needs attention.
Yes.
You little stinker butt.
She was just chewing a plastic wrapper. Could you guys hear it in the microphone? I had to take it out of her mouth a second ago. She's crazy.
She is crazy.
Cray cray.
Oh, now she's laying there like,
Is the microphone
I'm
on?
not doing anything.
It's not me.
Oh, it is on.
I can hear her in it. Here, let me get it.
Okay. Tracy's going to turn the microphone off. All right. Well, I have, so there's just like maybe one more significant thing that happened while I was away in Indiana for a year. It only lasted a year, guys. Well, what I did there was I had graduated beauty school, but I had opened Chili's in Temecula. I might have mentioned that. Did I mention that?
No.
Oh, I didn't? Oh, okay. So my jobs, I mentioned working at the gymnastics school, and I mentioned working at Stadium Pizza.
Yes.
Yeah. So after Stadium Pizza, I applied at the Chili's that was opening on Yanez and Rancho. When they were in the trailer, they were building the building, and I got the job as a hostess because I didn't have server experience or bartending experience. Well, I wasn't even 21 yet. But I got the job. I ended up becoming a trainer there and made some great friends there too. But then when I moved to Indiana, so I transferred to the Carmel in Chili's, and they had just opened. So they were still like working out kinks. And because I was a trainer, they were so excited to have me. So I got to go there and be like a trainer immediately. But in Indiana, you can't serve wine. So here you can be 18 to cocktail. Sorry, that's my headphone. Stop it. You can be 18 to cocktail, but you have to be 21 to pour.
Yeah.
Well, in Indiana and a lot of other states, you have to be 21 to even serve the alcohol. So I couldn't serve when I got there. So they use me a lot for being like kind of a trainer or assistant manager kind of thing.
Nice.
I did end up working all aspects of that place. I was in the kitchen. I helped them cook. And then I ended up becoming a bartender there when I turned 21. I was there during the OJ chase.
You were?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did
So,
you guys watch it?
oh yeah, I was on in the Chili's bar.
I think everybody was watching it at that point.
Yes. Yeah. And then the other thing about I didn't talk about this, did I? I don't want to repeat no, because I haven't talked about all this. So Indiana Hoosiers is that's the Indiana University. They're the Hoosiers.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
And at the time, Bobby Knight was still coaching basketball. So the first thing I'm asked when I meet everybody is, well, you know who Bobby Knight is, right? And I'm like, basketball's probably the last. Well, besides, I don't watch baseball on TV. I like to play it, but I don't watch it. Basketball's not my jam. No offense, everyone, but I don't know.
Your thing.
It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
And I really didn't follow college because none of us went to college, in my family. So we weren't college, sports people. So anyway, I'm like, I don't know who Bobby Knight. It was like I said, I didn't know who Jesus was. They were like,
Really?
what? Are you kidding? You have to know who Bobby Knight is. And then I find out he's like a temper tantrum thrower on the side of the court. He's like, but I see why. He was a legend and they did really well and stuff. So that was one thing I had to know. And then, was it, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. Dan Quayle, I think, lived while he was vice president.
Oh.
I think it was Dan Quayle. I'm pretty sure. Don't kill me because I'm not really good with history, and not that that's like, well, it kind of is history.
Yeah,
But I think he was the one that lived around the corner. So obviously he wasn't home all the time. But so he would come into the Carmel Chili's or whoever that vice president was at the time. And then Marshall Falk had traded to the Colts. All the Colts had come into the restaurant. Like I didn't know any of them either. But yeah, like it was cool because it was it was kind of a small town feel, even though it was right outside of Indianapolis. Excuse me. I never did go to the 500. I never did that. But in that little period of time at Chili's in Indiana, I call it my college year because I worked with all college graduates. They all graduated college and worked at Chili's. None of them had like gone into careers or anything. So, but this is one thing I don't know. I think we're too little still, but I don't remember anyone's last name from that Chili's. But I so wish I could find some of those people that worked there because we had the time of our lives. I literally spent about 60 hours a week at that Chili's. And then we would go out after work and stuff. So I call it my college years because that's when I hung out like in that age group. And then we played softball and we played a softball tournament up in Chicago for our Chili's. And I mean, we had the best time. And then Brandy, who I can't remember her name, but her little boy Luke, she gave birth to Luke while she worked at Chili's. She was my best friend there. And then Luke, I got to see him grow up for like a year, almost a year, maybe 8 months. And I'm sad that I would love to see what Luke looks like today and, see Brandy, but I can't remember her husband's name. I can't remember their last name. I know Haji was our manager. Can't remember his last name. So I can't remember. So if, anyone knows anyone that worked at Indiana Chili's.
If anyone is possibly still there. There could be.
I could call and
You
ask.
should call.
I should call.
Say, is there anyone who's worked there since whatever 19?
Yeah, it was like, gosh, 92.
94? Okay.
92. Yeah.
Probably not, but
Yeah. Or
be
maybe they
hopeful.
have like record. I don't know if they could
Yeah.
give it. Anyways, I don't know, but
On the wall.
you never know. Maybe someone's still managing somewhere.
never know.
I feel like I might have. No, it was a local one that I ran into the manager there, not the Indiana one. Anyway, so that was really fun. And then I have a very scary story. I drove a Toyota Paseo, which is like a 2-door Toyota wannabe sports car. Not really. It's just a really tiny 2-door car. And I drove about 45 minutes to work and back when I lived there. Well, we had a snowstorm one day while I worked a whole shift, and I was driving home that night in a snowstorm. I don't know what I was thinking. I had no chains. I had little
Nice.
tiny little toy tires. It's ridiculous. So I'm driving, and now these lanes, there's like 2 lanes north, 2 lanes south, and then they have the tornado ditches on the sides of the roads, and then it's just flat land of cornfields for as far as your eye can see. So my whole drive is that. So I'm driving in this snowstorm, never driven in the snow ever in my life, never mind a storm. And I find there's trucks on the road, but that's pretty much the only ones out there but me. And I could barely see in front of me. I'm driving behind a semi on the side of me. And I found that like the semi was like getting the snow to go kind of around me. So I kind of felt like this little safe
Barrier,
spot behind him. Well, at a certain point, the semi gets over and now I have nothing in front of me and it's dark. So all I can see is like, it's dark and you could barely see past your headlights. All of a sudden my car spins, takes off, spins 1, 2, 3. I land in one of the tornado ditches like a rocket ship. Like the front of my car is up in the air. So like the ditch, and the back of my car is down at the bottom of the ditch. So I'm sitting there, my heart pounding out of my chest, thinking that I'm going to see Jesus in a minute.
Oh my God.
And I can't believe that I'm actually alive because I was surrounded by semi trucks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm thinking there was a house like every 12 miles. Like it's not like you see houses, you see miles of cornfields and then you might see a house and then miles again. And it's not like a freeway because they don't have the on and off ramps. It's just like a house, like a driveway off the highway. Anyway, I go, what do I do? We didn't have cell phones then.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm like, Lord, I
Start
don't know what to
praying.
do. Do I stay in? Do I get out? Do I try to flag down a truck? Will they see me? And I look over my shoulder to the left and I see like this little light, like blurry in the snowstorm, like through the snowstorm. And I'm like, is that a car? Is that a house? Like, what is it? So I go, I'm going to get out and go to the light. Or was I in heaven? What was it? So I get out of the car and I'm walking in the snowstorm. And you could picture me, like I can't barely see in front of me and it's cold and I don't have a parka. And it's a house. Now, is this person home is the next question.
And are they going to be nice to you?
And and is it going to be scary? I mean, but what do? I'm stranded there.
Yes, you have no choice.
So I couldn't get my car out.
No.
And
No.
to call a tow truck, I had to have a phone. I didn't have a phone. So I go and knock on the door, and this little old man who lived by himself answered the door. And he's like, oh, dear, come in, put a blanket around me, gave me the phone, sat with me. I was able to call for help and go get picked up. And
What a blessing.
but it was like
he
another
is.
God thing, right?
Yes.
Like of all the places to land, my car to land was right by a house with someone who was home and the sweetest little man. So thank you, little man
Yes.
in heaven, because he's sure as heck not alive today. That was a long time ago.
God
But yeah,
was watching
so
over you.
totally,
For
as he
sure.
always does.
Yes.
But I will say that cured me. I decided I will not be living in Indiana for another winter.
And I bet you carry blankets in your car now.
Well, I don't. I moved out of the snow immediately. I was like taking the next flight back and I moved out of state. But before I moved out of state, I wanted to tell you, I got so I used to listen to the local radio station, was like Kiss FM, whatever. And they were doing, it was coming around Valentine's Day, obviously winter. And they were doing this promo or contest that you could win a Las Vegas wedding. So I was already married, so it wasn't for me, but I was thinking, my mom had been dating Jeff and they were talking about marriage. So I said to my mom, Mom, too bad you don't live here. I said, well, I could try. I'll try to get you on this like contest. Maybe you could get married on Valentine's in Vegas. So she's like, oh, that would be cool, So anyway, they had both been married before, and obviously mom had kids, Jeff hadn't. So I try to call in. I don't get it. I don't try very diligently. And so my mom calls me like 2 days later, and she goes, no, maybe it wasn't 2 days later, maybe it was 2 weeks later, but she goes, Jeff and I were talking, and we love the idea of Vegas wedding on Valentine's Day. And I'm like, my mom, Vegas wedding, like it's the last thing I would ever think she would do. She goes, so we're going to go to Vegas on Valentine's Day and get married. So we're going to fly, send for you
I just got
and
chills.
have
I
Brandy
didn't know
come
that.
out. So yeah, it was like within a couple weeks that they flew me out. And it was funny because Brandy, Chloe, and Dave and I, we all went to go decorate their room. So back then what's the pyramid one?
The Luxor.
The Luxor. It was like brand new. So that's where they were going to stay. And so we were like, let Jeff give us the room number so we could go and we want to decorate it and get it all set up for you for when you guys get back from the ceremony. So we go in there and literally they had not cleaned the room. The bed was,
Ew.
you could tell other people maybe had honeymoon in there. There was like something I'm not going to say was in the trash or not even in the trash on the floor.
No.
We freaked out and we were livid because that could have been our parents walking in there on their
Oh my God.
wedding night. So we went down and in a fit of rage, as rageful as Brandy and I get, we might have had
even
Dave's help. And we were like, we demanded that they get the honeymoon suite.
Yes.
So they had booked just like a regular suite, not like that.
Yeah.
So we demanded so we ended up getting them like the best suite in the whole
good.
place for free. They didn't even have to pay. And then we decorated it and we might have talked about lying and saying we upgraded them, but they knew that we didn't have the money back then. So yeah, and then they got married at the Little White Chapel.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I did not know they
I
got
didn't know
married in
that.
Vegas.
Mom was wearing a red dress because it was Valentine's Day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
I want
Brandy,
to see
Me
pictures.
too.
Brandy got married to Dan, I think after that. But they got married on, I think, February 8th. Mom and Jeff got married on the 14th. And then in a couple marriages, you'll find out I got married in February too. So yeah, that was an experience.
Did they get married the same year? In the same month?
No.
Oh, okay.
Everybody got married
All in
different.
February,
Same month. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Different year. Everybody got married different years. Yeah. So that was kind of fun.
That was fun.
So yeah. So anyway, so that kind of wraps up Indiana. Then we decided to move back home, and then the next episode I'll take you where, or if we don't have Dad, then I'll take you to what happened when I moved home from Indiana. But yeah, so basically in Indiana, I never saw my husband. He was like either a dental school or coaching at his dad's gym, and then I was
at Chili's.
I was at Chili's all the time, about an hour away from home. So yeah, yeah. So that kind of sets the tone for the next episode. That we'll wrap that marriage up. All right, you guys. Well, that's not all. We'll be back next week. It was kind of a long one, but we were all over the place, so we took you on like some.
As a Cherie.
Yeah, Cherie really dominated that episode. But all right, you guys. We'll talk next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, and have a great week.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.